Hello there, students. This is a video with the purpose of introducing you to reading number 2, or to the power of process assignment for reading number 2. As far as power of process reading number 1, I am aware that 7 students did that assignment. That's a really low number. I think this class has 20 students, if I'm not mistaken. This is INRW 0304 V14. And so only 7 did the assignment. So first of all, I want to say that the power of process assignments are meaningful. They're substantial, meaning that they're not 10-minute assignments. They're almost kind of on the level of essays, but not exactly. I think that this type of assignment is easier to do than an essay. But they're not that hard either. So I'm going to explain this assignment carefully. I think I explained the previous one carefully as well, but I'll take a little extra care on this one, just a tiny little bit extra, so that there's a higher chance of you doing the assignment. Okay. All right. Let's begin by checking out here syllabus and schedule. We'll start with the syllabus. Okay. Topic outline. Go down to week 10. All right, this is week 10. Power of process reading number 2, Lies in a Time of Threat, Betrayal Blindness and the 2004 U.S. Presidential Election, an excerpt. Now, maybe you already saw this article, or maybe you've seen it on Blackboard, not for this INRW course, but rather for your English 1301 course. So I consulted with your instructor for English 1301, and I asked him if I said if we could use this for this class, and he said that was great, because the way I mean to use it is for you to do these power of process assignments, and it'll serve kind of as an introduction to this article, which is part of work or writing that you'll do in English 1301. So I'm introducing an assignment for this class, for INRW 0304. But you will also be looking at this article, the complete article in English 1301. Okay, so there it is. It becomes available on Wednesday the 28th at 1 p.m. That may be when you're accessing this. I'm making this video the night before. Now I scroll down. Oh, and of course, the introduction to Connect Power of Process Reading 2 is this video. All right. If we scroll down to week 12, you will see right here the due date, right? There's the assignment, and it's due by 11:59 p.m. on November 13th on time, or by 11:59 p.m. November 20th. All right. So that's where it is on the syllabus. On the assignments and course schedule, which I like to call kind of a nickname, the master schedule. This schedule is organized by weeks and by due date. So the on-time due date, coming down this way, is the organizing element. Okay, the organizing column. If we scroll down, you will not find it on week 10, because that's not how this works. This schedule is based on when things are due on time. So you'll find it on week 12, but it does say this first column is date available, right? So this assignment becomes available on October 28th at 1 p.m., right? And you saw that on the syllabus also. Right, there it is, and it's due on time then, it's due late then, and the time due is always 11:59 p.m. All right, so that's that. Moving on then, beyond this, let's go to course content. Course content? Yeah, course content. Go down to week 10. And there it is, right? You click inside. You click and you get inside the folder. And there it is. Now, you may have accessed, again, I'm doing this the night before, but you're watching this video in the future. For me, right, relative to what I'm doing, you're watching it in the future. You might have gotten this video from here, right? By clicking on a link right here, right? That obviously I can't see because I'm producing the video and I cannot create the link before I actually produce the video, as I'm doing right now. So maybe you got your video by clicking on it here. I'm not talking about other assignments. I'll click on the Connect Assignments link, which is also available over here as a menu item. Okay. And if that takes us to the general folder, the overall Connect folder. As we scroll down, I'm looking here. I'm going to scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. There's the 4 categories, right? And one category is power of process. And notice this is the video for reading number 1. And maybe the way you got to this video was by clicking on the Connect folder, and you got the video here, right? Right after this one, there's a second link, the one containing this video. Of course, obviously, I cannot look at it because I'm still producing the video, right? But maybe you got it here. And this is the outside of the power of process folder, which contains the 2 assignments, or maybe now it only has 1 because the first one has been removed. Maybe not. Either way, you can't do the first one anymore because that one already is past its late date. So there it is right here. Click on it. And again, maybe you got this video by clicking on the link in here, right? There's the old one. The new one would be here, right? And then here is the chart. Same thing as the chart on the outside, same one on the inside. And then here is the link. So you might be able to see this link still, but if you click on it, it won't take you there anymore. But we're doing this one. Lies in a time of threat, betrayal, blindness, etc. So when you press that, you won't see this. This is not what you will see. I'm the instructor, so I need to put it in student view so that we can see what you would see. And I'm not even sure that this is what you would see. Notice it still says instructor Jose Perez, but it's showing me the way the menu looks for you when you look at the 4 categories of Connect assignments. I don't know. I don't know if it'll take you to this folder or not. But if it does, or if at some point you do end up in this folder, you would just press on it. And then I don't know if this one would still show, but this one for sure would still show, right? And then you would click here. At this point, if I'm pretending to be a student, the situation is that I'm doing this the night before, so it's not available yet. So I can't do it because it's not available to students yet. All right. Again, I'm not sure that it would take you here. All right. So I'm going to return to student view. Again, these are things that you wouldn't do, things that are not available to you, obviously, because you're not the instructor. But I'm putting it back on instructor view so that I can actually preview the assignment with you. I've got a preview feature right here, see student assignment view. And in this case, it won't matter that the assignment isn't available yet. So what I think, I could be wrong, but what I think is that when you click the link inside of Blackboard, right, that brings you here. That's what I think happens. If it brings you to that menu with the 4 different categories, then you can find it. You saw how, right? So here it is, power of process reading number 2, lies in a time of threat, betrayal, blindness, and it's an excerpt because I kind of only give you half of it. The second half, which is kind of the more interesting half, you'll read as part of your composition course. Okay, you'll read all of it there. Here you'll only read part of it. That's what excerpt means. It means that it's just a part. Here are the instructions. Do all of the assigned power of process activities for the reading in order, clockwise, beginning with before reading, preview the text. Now, this doesn't, especially if you didn't do the first assignment, then you have no idea what I'm talking about, right? That's all right. I'll start to explain, and it'll become very clear in a moment. Before I explain that, let me say this. Don't plagiarize. Don't include in your response any words, information, ideas copied off the internet or elsewhere. Respond with your own words and ideas. This is my 17th year teaching, and I am really good at catching plagiarism. It's usually pretty obvious when a student is responding with words, ideas from other places and not his or her own. Also, be honest, right? It's not about me catching it or not, right? I think you aspire to good things, right? That's why you're in college. And now, being in college doesn't guarantee you're honest, right? I hope you are, though, for your sake. Life is better when you're honest, and it's not always easier when you're honest. I know that because I'm an honest person, and sometimes, often, the honest path is a difficult path. But that's fine. That's how it should be. So be honest just because that's the right thing to do, but also to avoid getting in trouble because you probably will. Okay, and trouble means getting a 0 on the assignment, at least. So if I discover that things are copied. All right, enough of that, right? So now, what I was saying about clockwise, what I mean by activities, there are 15 little assignments, 15 activities you're going to do in response to the excerpt from the article. And you'll do them in clockwise order. You'll see in a moment. You'll start at the top. You'll do one here, 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 here. Like when you look at a clock, it's got 12, 6, what is it? 12, 3, 6, 9, and then back to 12, right? So clockwise is going this way. You'll start with the assignment that you can see at the top here, and then work your way down through 15 activities. All right, I'm gonna press start so that this becomes more apparent. Now here it's more clear what I'm talking about, right? The first activity, and I said it, let's see, let me press this here. I said begin with the one that's before reading preview the text. That's what I said, okay? So there it is, before reading preview the text. So start with this one, work your way doing every assignment until you get back here. When you click on each one, it'll give you a box where you'll type an answer, okay, until you do all 15 of them. This section is called before reading. This section is called during reading. In before reading there are 4. In during reading there are 7 little activities or assignments, and then in after reading there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this will be the last thing you do. Now, can you do them out of order? Yes, you can, but that doesn't mean you should. I think you should do them in order. Okay. It'll make more sense that way. And especially as I explain this, you'll see why it makes more sense to do them in order. Okay. Let me start by pressing on here. And you'll see right away the text box, and you may wonder, well, where's the article? Okay, it's not obvious. Okay, let me actually take a moment. Let me go back to the assignment, start. There it is, right? But then it gets covered up, right? And you can see it faintly in the background. And who can read it like that, right? Without getting thoroughly annoyed and losing your eyesight, right? So no, when you click on it, it's down here, right? There it is. So it's below the text box. If you can print this out, I think you can, although it might have, I don't know, it might depend on the printer. You know what? This one's pretty good, right? If you have access to a printer, just hit print and you can have a paper, right? You can also maybe take a picture of it, especially if you I'm doing Control- to zoom, because I don't know if I can get all of it. It'd be cool if I could, hey, you know what? There it is. I could, with my phone, right, take a picture of it, and that way I could have an image on my phone. And maybe if I want to make it bigger image, kind of do like 2 halves, like the top half and the bottom half, right? I have 2 pictures to read from. That's another way of getting access to the text. That way you don't have to kind of be looking down, scrolling to the bottom to get your answer, right? And to know what to type here. Now, let me real quickly go through each one, but I mean real quick. Before reading the text, the reading's always there, or it's on your phone if you take a picture of it, right? For you to respond to, right? Predict what you'll read. Okay, and the reading's always there. This is the second thing you'll type, right? Then there's, again, this is the before reading section. So before reading, recognize prior knowledge. There it is. Now, if you'll notice, there's always an indication on how many words, the minimum number of words and the minimum number of sentences you must produce here. Okay, that's really important. Before reading, ask questions about the text. Okay, that's always there. You type your answer based on what it asks you here. And then during reading has 7 items. Identify the author's purpose. Okay, you type in there. And notice I always go back to the wheel, to what's it called? Whatever it's called. Describe the author's tone. It's called view my process. All right. I read it. Okay, and then I type my answer. Oh, at least 40 words, 3 or more sentences. So I type an answer right there. All right, you type in there. Okay, next, what's next? So this one was author's tone. Answer questions about the text. Okay, there it is. And then determine the implied main idea. Okay, so I need to find the main idea and then type it in here. Okay, and this would be at least 30 words or more, 30 words or more, 2 or more sentences. Find the supporting details. All right, so yeah, there's a main idea and then there's the details that support the main idea. So I need to type them here. And I do notice something that's popping up a lot in your own words. So I can't just copy. And what I don't mean I, Mr. Bettis, I mean you, right? You, I'm pretending to be a student. So if I'm a student in this class, I realize I can't just, from my phone, just type the sentence, some sentences here directly. Nope, that will not fly. That probably, now I'm speaking as Mr. Bettis, that would probably be a 0, right? If you're just copying from what's here, because anyone, well, not anyone, right? But a lot of people can do that, right? Most people can do that, right? Just copy something, and did you understand it? I have no idea. I just know you know how to type, right? So again, never do something that defeats the purpose of education, right? Or at least don't be surprised when a teacher gives you a bad grade on it or even a 0 if you try to do something like that, okay? All right, does that make sense? That's not being mean, right? That's just being fair and the idea that you need to learn, and that requires you doing things in your own words and showing that you can do it, not just that you can type something that someone else typed, right? So what was it? Supporting details. Identify pattern of development. So there's a question, you answer it here. Make connections with the text. You answer it there. And that's the this is the during reading section. Then we got the final section, which is after reading. So summarize the text. And this one's pretty long, 60 words and 5 or more sentences, but I will show you in just a few minutes that it's actually very easy to do. And then evaluate an argument. There's some questions, you answer them here. 40 or more words, 3 or more sentences, and always in your own words, never copying, certainly not copying from other things, like it said at the beginning. If you copy off internet articles somewhere else, I'll probably catch it. Most likely it's dishonest, and I'll catch it and you'll get a 0. Let me be real careful with this. It's not that you'll get or that I'll give you a 0. You will earn a 0, okay? I never like it when students say, what grade did you give me? I don't give anyone anything. No teacher gives you anything. A teacher evaluates, right? The grader evaluates your assignment, and I guess you could say I received the grade, but really it's that you earned it. So in the case of someone cheating, that person earns himself or herself a 0, all right? So try not to earn a 0, and also in the sense of just copying from here, that would also earn you a 0. What was the next one? Develop an argument. Notice I'm giving an argument. That doesn't mean I'm fighting. It means that I'm saying something and I'm backing it up with logic. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. 40 or more words. Do you agree or disagree with the main idea? Right, that's important. And then finally, confirm your prediction. Okay. So I briefly, so you see, those are the 15 activities. Now, let's go back to the first section, preview the text, which is where you're supposed to begin. For the first four before the reading activities or responses, you shouldn't read it, okay? You shouldn't read it all the way. So what you should do is kind of just skim it. Notice what it says. When you look at the title, okay, so what's the title? Lies in a Time of Threat, Betrayal Blindness, okay? The author, who's the author? Let's see, Eileen Zerbruggen, okay? All right, paragraphs, okay? These are the paragraphs. Headings, well, it doesn't have any head. It has one heading, betrayal, trauma theory, and betrayal blindness. So this is a heading. This is the title up here, but this is the heading. Oh, and there's something interesting here in the title. It wasn't clear here because it didn't fit. Notice how long it is. If it kept going, it would have been too long. But notice the complete title is from Lies in the Time of Threat, Betrayal Blindness, and the 2004 U.S. presidential election. But I'll tell you, the article doesn't really discuss the election. It's the first half of the article before it gets into that election from 16 years ago. Okay, vocabulary and other clues. What do you learn about the text just kind of by skimming it? So, for example, where it says paragraphs. Okay, maybe read the first few words in each paragraph. Psychologists have long known that many trauma survivors have gaps in their memory. Okay. Although suggestion can play a role in memory for trauma, forgetting, amnesia, or dissociation are present in many survivors. Consider the case of a young child depending on survival as for an adult caregiver. Like all humans, this child has a strong... Okay, but I don't want to read anymore though, because the point is just read a little bit. This strategy works for most cases, but it fails. Okay, so, or maybe read the last sentence of each one, or the last few words. Child sexual abuse. Oh, wow. That's a topic that's like a very serious topic, right? And so notice that stood out. And when did it stand out? When I decided to read kind of like the end of the paragraph, right? Betrayal, trauma theory. Ooh, trauma, the word trauma, memory loss and fear. Okay. We're really talking about, I mean, I did see the word psychologist here, right? So notice I didn't read the whole thing, but I read here and there, and maybe I'll read like the last, let's see, studies found more memory impairment for abuse. Abuse. So yeah, I have to write at least 20 words and at least one complete sentence. Right, that's really important. And so I'll type something like, it seems like it's very serious topics, very sensitive topics. They're kind of psychological topics, right? Just from some of the words that I read. And it says, so what do you learn from that, right? And you can't just say, well, I learned that it's about psychology. That's not enough words. That's like, I don't know what, 5, 6, 7 words. Oh, by the way, to kind of get an idea how many words, you can open a Microsoft Word document. There's like a little counter, usually on the bottom left, and it counts the number of words that you typed on the screen. So that might help you make sure that, so you would type it and then copy it and then paste it, or vice versa. Go on Word, produce your sentences there, and then paste them into here. I don't want your Word document though, right? So don't show me a Word document. You're just gonna be typing all your answers in here and then submitting them. Okay, view process, second thing, predict what you'll read. Again, you still haven't read it. You've read a little bit now, right? Yeah, it's really, really, really tough topics here. And you know what? Something that's interesting is, what does that have to do with the 2004 election, right? These psychological topics. So that's really interesting. And betrayal. Well, betrayal means when somebody betrays someone else, right? So it's really interesting what that might have to do with it. Now, when you look at the title, author, so the same things as before. What do you think is the main idea? So what do I think? Okay, so I might put something like, the main idea seems to be that there are some really, and again, I'm going to stop talking there because I don't want to give answers, right? So the point is that, yeah, you type it out, make sure that you write at least 20 words, at least one or more sentences, which means that you point out several things here that lead you to believe that the main idea is whatever it is you're saying. Remember, you're not going to copy a sentence as they get here. And don't worry about the one I just pointed to. That wasn't it. You're not copying any sentence. In your own words, you're saying what you think the main idea is. Recognize prior knowledge. What do you already know about this topic? So, there's some topics here that are very, here's the word, emotionally. They're very emotional and serious and really tough topics. I mean, kind of some sad things that happen in our world. What do you already know about this topic? Or maybe more general, what do you know about psychology? What do you know about trauma? What do you know about children, right? What do you know about strategies for survival, right? So, and knowing about the topic is from many different things. Some people like to watch a lot of movies, and one thing is movies are about a lot of topics, right? And so maybe some of the things we know are from movies, from TV shows about things, things we've read, assignments we've done for other classes. Maybe you've taken a psychology class. What are some things you already know about the topic? And or if you see U.S. presidential election, well, what do you know about elections? There's an election going on right now, right? So it's kind of a topic that's out there, right? So talk about whatever you want. So let me say something about the previous assignment. I worry that, I don't know, worry is the right word, but I guess I'm worried about this assignment. I wonder if students looked at this assignment, like the many 13, 14 students who didn't do this, the reading number 1 power process, and thought that was too difficult. What do you already know? And someone says, well, I don't know anything, right? That's all right. Say it. Say, I don't know anything because. Now, let me say, if it's I don't know anything, period. Okay, I'm done now. I don't really need to write 30 or more words because that's only for people who know something about it. No. Okay, I'm sorry to be emphatic. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I want to emphasize it. Okay, why do I say I'm sorry? I'm not. I need to emphasize that, students, that you are not excused or exempt from anything. When your answer is negative, you have to explain why it's negative, all right? So if it's no, I don't know anything about these topics, about psychology, about the election, about these really tough topics, and the reason I don't know is that I don't spend a lot of time around children, for example, if it's children. Or I'm not that interested in that topic of psychology. I like other things, So it might be a little harder for you to answer this question than those who do know something or are interested in the topic. But maybe, hey, maybe when you still have like 5 or 6 words, or you need one more sentence to make the minimum 2, maybe you can say, but I'm willing to learn, right? But I'm willing to learn. There it is, 5 more words. Okay, I've got my 30 words, right? Again, I'm not going to be very picky, right? As long as I see that you're answering it, that's fine. But what I will be picky with is if you don't meet the minimums, okay? So no excuses. No one is exempt from the answer. Identify, which one was it? Ask questions, okay. When you've skimmed it, right? You haven't read it yet. What questions do you want answered, right? And notice it says questions. That's important because notice what I did. 30 or more words or 2 or more sentences. So if you ask like 3 questions, that's 3 sentences. That's good because it's 2 or more. Maybe 10 words each. You got it. No problem, right? So ask some questions. Some things that based on what you haven't read, but what the little few things you've read, what are some questions you have about it? And let's see if they get answered once you read. So identify the author's purpose. Now, before doing these, go ahead and read it. Okay, so I'm going to put identify the author's purpose, and there it is. So before answering, okay, what's the question? Okay, fine. But I'm going to read it all the way. Read it. Okay. I mean, printing it is a great thing. If you can manage to get yourself a printout, that would be wonderful because then you can maybe mark up your like with a pen or pencil or highlighter. But it's not necessary. You don't have to do that. But it's a good idea to do it. Even with like a picture, if you take a picture, I know there are apps where you can then print the picture, right? I mean, obviously there are, right? Or even turn it into text and paste it on a Word document and that kind of stuff. So do whatever helps. But if you can't do or don't have time to do those things, then just read it from here, right? Read it several times, right? As there's like a deadline, right? What is it? And then there's like 7 days later, right? You have plenty of time to do this assignment. Get started as early as possible. Do it little by little. It saves your progress, right? You can come back to it another day, etc. Make sure you hit save. For it to be saved, you have to hit save, whatever you type. Does the author want the audience to be informed, entertained, or persuaded? Again, 30 or more words, 2 or more sentences. Persuaded, done. Nope, you'll get a 0 for that answer, okay? What clues help you come up with that? Or entertained or informed. So I think he wants us to be informed because he says this, this, and this. He gives information about this, information about that. Make sure you put it in your own words. Don't just copy sentences, right? Remember, you're meeting a minimum on words and sentences. Describe the author's tone. That's what's next, right? What emotion does the author want us to feel? Sad, angry, and maybe probably angry at people who do bad things, right? Concerned, happy, optimistic, pessimistic, right? You know, the topics are very serious. What clues? Well, you know, if I'm saying it's serious, there's a lot of serious things being talked about. So I would kind of mention them in my own words, right? You would mention them in your own words. How does the tone detract from the purpose, or does it help the author's purpose? And notice you have to say a lot of things here, 40 or more words, and you must produce 3 or more sentences that total 40 or more words. Okay? Students, don't be trying to get to exactly 40, right? It's 40 or more. 39 is not enough. But 52 is great, 68, 41, 42, right? So again, if you need to count with your finger how many you have, or if you're pasting things on a Word document to use the word count there, that's fine too. But make sure you've got it, because I will be using word count. I will copy and I will paste your items in a Word document, a grading sheet, and I will know how many words you typed. I will also know the number of sentences because there's periods or question marks, right? Or maybe exclamation marks at the end of each sentence. All right, moving on. That was purpose. Answer questions about the text. That reminds me of something. Ask questions about the text. You asked questions here. Sorry, you asked questions. Well, okay, now we come to answer questions. Did you find the answers to your questions? Again, is your answer yes and save? No. Or no and save? No. Your answer is yes, I found answers to blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't find any answers because, and I think that's because blah, 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 because my questions were not that good, or because my questions were good, but it turned out once I actually read it, that it really was talking about something else, right? So again, you've got to meet the minimums. Implied main idea. Main idea. What clues in the text help you determine the main idea? So what is the main idea, right? And notice in your own words, you can't just copy a sentence from here. So kind of say the author's main idea is a blah, blah, blah. What clues? And I think the main idea is that because of the things he's talking about this, he's talking about that, you know, things from the article. And so that's why I think that's the main idea. 30 or more words, 2 or more sentences. After main idea comes supporting details. Notice 50 or more words and 4 or more sentences. So justify the main idea. So in the previous one, you said what the main idea was. You can go back to it to look at it, I guess. You can even copy it and paste it in your supporting details, just so you can look at it, right, as you write the details. And then delete the main idea and just keep the detail sentences. So just pick things that you think support, you know, ideas, thoughts that the author gives, right? That support it. Did I say he? I'm trying to remember the name. It might be Eileen, right? So she that the author gives. And so you're going to write a lot, 50 or more words. I mean, it's not an extreme amount, but it's more than others, more than the 20 words or 30 words or 40 words. And And again, all of it in your own words. He talks, she, right? She, the author, talks about this, the author talks about that. And that's why I think the main idea is what I said it was, right? And then identify pattern of development. By the way, let me explain. In another class, we're doing a different article. And in that one, it is a he. So I made that video before this video. So I'm still stuck with the author from that other article for another class. Okay. All right. What was this? Making connections with the text. What information reminds you of yourself, other texts, outside world, other people? So say that things that are being talked about here remind me of situations in my life or in other people's lives or in movies I've seen and books. I mean, the sky's the limit. And you only need 30 or more words, 2 or more sentences. This one's pretty easy because you don't have to get your answer from here. You're getting it from your own experience, right? If you don't have much experience, you still need to answer in 30 or more words, 2 or more sentences. So again, I'm warning you as I've warned with other ones, right? I don't have much experience. So I don't know people who've been through it, these things. However, I can see how that does happen in life. You know, I have heard news reports about it, or on social media, sometimes people talk about things like that. So again, notice what I'm doing there. Even though I don't have anything to talk about, I'm saying something, right, that relates to the topic, so I can get 30 more words. And that's not, if you'll pardon the expression, that's not BS. All right, it's not like kind of giving a silly answer, you know, to put an answer. If you truly don't know, explain why you don't know, and express that you'd like to find out, or to some extent you'd like to find out, and this article is helping you, right? Find out about some things you don't know much about, right? It seems to me like I skipped that one. And notice so I went on to make connections because you know, I keep trying to click right here and I think it's thinking is so click. I'm gonna click over here instead. There it is. What is, I had skipped this one. What is a text primary pattern of development? Narration, description, illustration, process, cause and effect, classification, argument. How does this pattern affect the author's purpose? So is it a narrative, like a story? And feel free to Google each one of these, or go in your English 1301 book. You've got a good book there, I think, right? And if you don't, then at least Google each word, right, and see what each pattern is. Yeah, I know your English 1301 book. I've taught composition in the past, and I've used that book that you have to teach students. And it's got a section on each one. How does a pattern affect the author's purpose, right? So if you think it's a description essay, or if it's like a cause and effect, you know, it says primary, but if you want to say it's like 2 or 3 different things, I'm okay with that. It's got an argument, it's cause and effect, and it tells a few little stories. You know, I'm not saying those are the answers, but you can combine more than one thing. And that might make it easier to get to the 30 words in 2 or more sentences. And make sure you say that, you know, this part in your own words shows that it's like cause and effect, or it shows that it's an argument. And that's it. So I had skipped it, then we had done this one. Now it's summarize the text. Now watch this. Summarize the text equals main idea plus supporting details. So this is what you should do. For summarize the text, 60 words, 5 or more sentences. Oh no, this one's really long. Well, guess what? If you've been doing the work, it's already done. Go into your process, go to implied main idea, copy what you have in here, go back over here and paste it. You've got the first piece. Then go back into here to supporting details, copy, you know, that's 30 words, 2 more sentences. No, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Right here. Okay, there it is, 50 words, 4 sentences. So copy everything there. Go back to summarize, and then after the main idea you already have there, paste the detail sentences. And that's how you'll have your 60 or more words and 5 or more sentences, because you had already done the work. It was already done. So this is actually might be the easiest one once you've done the preliminary work. Evaluate an argument. What is the author's claim? What reasons support the claim? How adequately do the reasons support the claim? Well, the claim is the main idea. You know, So you can kind of just, it's okay, you can just copy, go back to the main idea, and then copy it and paste it in here. But what reasons support the claim? Well, what are the things that the author says that supports what the author is saying as the claim? So if the author is saying, I'm going to say something silly here. If the author is saying that peanut butter and jelly is the best thing that people can have for lunch, right? That's not what Eileen, right? That's not what she's saying. However, I'm just pretending, right? So what reasons? Well, the reasons are that it says this, and then there's another reason for peanut butter and jelly. There's another reason why PB&J is so great. So say what those reasons are. How adequate are those reasons? Do you think that's enough evidence, or are you still not convinced, right? So this is kind of like the new thing. You've already said what the main idea is before, but do you think the author, in this case Eileen Zurbriggen, I'm attempting to pronounce the name, does it really support her or not? And if you say not and you still need more words, say why. No, because I need a little more information on this or that, right? Remember, you're trying to get to 4 or more words, 3 or more sentences. Develop an argument. To what extent do you agree or disagree? This one's great. I agree or I disagree, save. Nope, you'll get a 0 for that, right? I agree with the main idea because blah, 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 blah. Like, what are your reasons? I don't agree because blah, 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 right? So again, in the blah, 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 where you're saying important things, right? You're not BSing, or you're saying important things. You must get to 40 or more words, 3 or more sentences. And then finally, remember the prediction. Predict what you'll read from the before reading. So go back and look at your predictions, maybe copy them and then paste them over here, maybe, right? Confirm your prediction. Were your predictions right? Yes, my prediction about blah, blah, blah was right. But my prediction about this other thing was wrong, right? 20 or more words, 1 or more sentences. And you can go back and then change your answers. You could check each one over. Actually, there's an easier way to check than by clicking each one. I'll show you that in just a moment. When you've done all of them, you have to do this right here, my process reflection. You can't turn it in until you do this. Okay. This one is not for a grade, so I wouldn't spend a long time on it. I mean, it has several questions, and you don't have to answer everything. 1 sentence would do. I'm not going to grade it, but you have to type something here and you have to hit save. Okay, so blah, 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 right? And save. Okay, this is the best place to check over your answers. So notice I didn't answer anything, and that's what it told me all the way through, right? But in your case, you'll have your answer right here, and you can click on edit, which will take you back to the text box where you can change your answer and improve it. Or you realize you don't have enough words, it's too short, go back and add more words and add more sentences as necessary. Okay, once you have everything, submit assignment. You must submit it. It's been saving when you hit the little saves, it's been saving all your answers, but this tragedy has happened in the past that a student has saved along the way and then never submitted it. You have to submit. No, mine isn't working because I'm not a student, or because it's before the start of the assignment, doing this the night before, or because of both, right? But nobody I know for sure 7 students were able to submit this assignment, and 8 students in another class, and 5 students in another class. So I know 20 students were able to submit the Power of Process reading number 1 assignment, and no students contacted me saying that they clicked on the button and it didn't work. All right. So if that does happen, if it doesn't work, then just contact me. Pronto is the best place, and let me know that it didn't work, because none of these buttons are working for me right now. But again, I'm pretty confident that, especially, tomorrow, right, when this assignment will become available after 1 p.m., that if a student does it, is ready to submit, that it'll work. Okay, that's it. We go back. In my case, I'm going back to an instructor view, and I'm just doing that so I can go back to Blackboard. This is it. That's the explanation, and I hope you have a good experience with this assignment, and also with this article when you use it for your writing in English 1301 later on. Okay, bye-bye.